Today, on the 29th of October, 2023, we bring our attention to the ongoing conflict in the Middle East, specifically in Gaza. As the dawn of a new day breaks, we receive news of a glimmer of hope. Communications in Gaza, which had been severely disrupted, were partially restored this Sunday morning. This crucial development is attributed to the efforts of 2 service providers and a diligent monitoring group, all of whom have been working tirelessly to reconnect the people of Gaza with the outside world. But as we delve deeper into the story, we find that not all is smooth sailing. The Qatari-owned telecommunications company, Ooredoo, has remained noticeably silent. With no updates provided on any resumption of service, questions are left floating in the air. And the people of Gaza are left wondering when they might hear from their loved ones again. This restoration of communication services is undoubtedly a complex issue, deeply entwined with the broader conflict at play. Yet it's essential to recognize the significance of this development. Amidst the turmoil, the chaos, and the uncertainty, this partial restoration of communication is a beacon of hope. It's a sign that progress is being made, that steps are being taken to restore a sense of normalcy to the lives of the people of Gaza. The restoration of communication services is a small but significant step in the right direction amidst the turmoil. In a rather concerning development, the Israel Defense Forces have expanded their ground operations in Gaza. The expansion of these operations has sent ripples of fear through the hearts of families with loved ones taken as hostages to Gaza. The uncertainty of what this might mean for them is tangible, as the streets echo with the whispers of worried citizens. The Israel Defense Forces' decision to broaden their ground maneuvers is seen as a significant shift in the ongoing conflict. This move has not only amplified the concerns of the hostages' families, but has also raised questions about the potential repercussions on the overall peace process. The uncertainty of the situation has left many in a state of emotional limbo, holding their breaths for what comes next. Adding fuel to the fire, Israel's Defense Minister Yoav Gallant made a statement that the country is now entering a new phase in the war. This announcement has not only intensified the atmosphere of fear, but has also left many wondering about the future course of action. This new phase, as Gallant puts it, could mean anything from an intensification of the ground operations to a complete shift in strategy. The defense minister further stated that the operation would continue until a new order is given. This lack of a defined endpoint has exacerbated the feelings of dread among the populace, leaving them in a state of constant anticipation and worry. The people are left to wonder, to wait, and to hope for a swift resolution that would bring their loved ones home safely. As the ground operations intensify, the fear and uncertainty among the people increase. As the days pass, the toll of the conflict becomes more apparent, and the world watches on, hoping for a peaceful resolution to the crisis. Yet, for the families of the hostages, the wait continues, their hearts filled with fear and their minds clouded with uncertainty. The international community is not sitting idle amidst this crisis. The International Committee of the Red Cross, a well-respected organization known for its humanitarian efforts, has issued a call. This isn't a plea for donations or volunteers, but rather a request for immediate de-escalation of hostilities in the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas. They're not alone in their worries. As the turmoil intensifies, the world watches with bated breath, hoping for a ceasefire, a pause, a moment to let the dust settle. But the Red Cross doesn't stop there. They also call for the delivery of much-needed humanitarian aid: food, water, medicine. These basic necessities are in short supply, and the situation is growing dire. The people of Gaza are caught in the crossfire, their lives disrupted and their city in ruins. Meanwhile, the Israel Defense Forces, or IDF, have made their own assurances. To the people of Gaza who are willing to move south, they promise more provisions, more food, water, and medicine to help tide over this crisis. It's a glimmer of hope, a potential lifeline in a sea of uncertainty, but it's not without its complications. The move is fraught with danger, and the promise of aid is contingent on a journey many are unwilling or unable to make. This is where we stand today, a world watching, hoping, and calling for peace. The Red Cross, with its plea for de-escalation and humanitarian aid. The IDF, with its assurances to those willing to take a risk. The call for peace and humanitarian aid is loud and clear, but will it be heeded? The answer to that remains to be seen. As the world watches, waits, and hopes, we can only reiterate the call for peace, for de-escalation, and for the delivery of humanitarian aid to those who need it the most. In a surprising turn of events, a potential resolution seems to be on the horizon. A glimmer of hope or a controversial proposal? The militant group Hamas has expressed a willingness to engage in a hostage exchange deal. The premise is simple: the return of Israeli hostages in exchange for detained Hamas members. Yet the simplicity of the proposition belies the potential controversy brewing within Israel. An exchange of this nature would not be without precedent. Yet it does raise questions about the value and morality of such a deal. Would Israel be legitimizing Hamas by engaging in negotiations? Would it set a dangerous precedent, encouraging further hostage-taking in the future? The debate rages on, adding another layer of complexity to an already intricate crisis. While the hostage exchange controversy unfolds, another dispute is taking center stage. This time it involves the billionaire tycoon Elon Musk and his pledge to provide aid organizations in Gaza with Starlink satellite service. The promise of a reliable communication network in a war-torn region seems like a humanitarian gesture, yet the Israeli government has vowed to fight this pledge. The contention lies in the fear that Starlink could potentially be misused by Hamas for nefarious purposes, or that it might tip the balance of power in the region. This controversy, while centered around aid distribution, is ultimately about control and security, echoing the overarching themes of this enduring conflict. The potential hostage exchange deal, and the controversy around aid distribution, adds another layer of complexity to the crisis. The conflict is not without its share of casualties and infrastructural challenges. As the dust rises from the rubble, Israel's military chief makes a bold statement. He asserts the necessity of a ground offensive in the ongoing war against Hamas. This is no small decision. A ground offensive means boots on the ground, soldiers in the line of fire, and an escalation that could see this conflict extend into the unforeseeable future. Yet the decision is not made lightly. It's a strategic choice, born from the belief that to secure peace, to protect citizens, and to restore order, the nation has to confront the adversary head-on. It's a high-stakes game, where the dice are thrown in the battlefield and the outcome is uncertain. Meanwhile, the tremors of this conflict resonate in the heart of Gaza, particularly in the hospitals. These bastions of hope, these sanctuaries of healing, are now facing a crisis of their own, a crisis of delay. Imagine the scene: injured individuals bearing the brunt of the airstrikes looking for solace and medical aid. But the hospitals are struggling. Israeli airstrikes have disrupted communications, creating a void of information. This loss of communication between hospitals is causing delays in treating those in dire need. Time is the essence in such situations, and these delays could mean the difference between life and death. It's a grim picture, a stark reminder of the harsh realities of war. These are not just structures made of bricks and mortar. These are institutions that serve as a lifeline for the most vulnerable, for those who bear the brunt of a conflict they did not choose. The war continues to take a heavy toll on the people and infrastructure of Gaza. As we reach the end of today's update, let us take a moment to summarize the key points. We started our journey today with the news of partial communication restoration in Gaza. 2 service providers and a monitoring group confirmed this development, although the Qatari-owned telecommunications company Ooredoo stayed silent on the matter. Mobile phone companies, however, reported that their services remained down, presenting a stark contrast in the communication landscape. The Israel Defense Forces, or IDF, expanded their ground operations in Gaza, instilling fear among families of hostages taken to the region. This expansion marked a new phase in the war, according to Israel's Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, who affirmed that operations would continue until a new order is given. Israel's military chief echoed this sentiment, stating that a ground offensive was necessary. We also discussed the International Committee of the Red Cross's call for an immediate de-escalation of hostilities and the delivery of humanitarian aid. The IDF responded by urging Gazans to move south, promising they would receive more food, water, and medicine if they complied. The topic of hostage exchange surfaced with Hamas expressing willingness to engage in such a deal. However, this proposition could stir controversy within Israel. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu compared the current conflict with the historical Arab-Israeli War and pledged to exhaust all options for hostage return. We noted the controversy surrounding Elon Musk's pledge to provide aid organizations in Gaza with Starlink satellite service, a move Israel vowed to fight. Lastly, we touched on the delays faced by hospitals in Gaza in treating injured individuals. These delays resulted from Israeli airstrikes and communication breakdowns between hospitals. Stay informed, stay safe. Until next time, this is your host signing off on the 29th of October 2023.